Have you ever been hungry?
Yes.
But like when you're hungry, what do?
Nothing.
Don't you go to like a grocery store?
No.
Or cook for yourself?
You might not realize, but like what a privilege it is to have stuff like grocery stores nearby.
What?
Today, we are discussing food deserts in California. Food deserts are all about not having any access to grocery stores with fresh produce. How were they developed? Who do they affect? Will there be a tribulating argument between three friends? Friends to frenemies? Stick around to the Health Equity Podcast, hosted by the genetically modified ostriches, aka the GMOs. Well, shall we get started?
Yeah. So, where do you guys shop for groceries?
Like, I shop at Food for Less and sometimes Walmart.
Yeah, I shop at Costco, sometimes Target and grocery outlet.
I usually shop at Trader Joe's and Vons.
Like, why don't we all shop at the same grocery store? Like, what's the difference?
I'm not sure. I just shop wherever is closer.
Yeah, like close to me in El Cajon, there's like a Walmart and like Food for Less. Food for Less is kind of sketchy.
Dude, I love Food for Less. Yeah, we also try to shop wherever's closer. I mean, Costco isn't that close, but sometimes we use the Instacart. But the local grocery stores near my house are like Lapa Lapa and Andy.
Yeah, and that's usually what most families do. Just shop at wherever is closest to their homes. Unfortunately, that's not possible for 1 million Californians, 45% of whom are low income. They live without access to nearby supermarkets or large grocery stores.
These communities are known as food deserts.
Oh, I've heard of that term.
Yeah, me too. Food deserts are regions of the country that are typically made up of households with low incomes and have inadequate access to transportation, a limited number of food retailers providing fresh produce, and no healthy groceries for affordable prices.
Now that we know what a food desert is, well, like, why do they exist?
Doesn't everyone want a grocery store near their house?
Or don't you want to live in a neighborhood with stores nearby?
But it was all caused by redlining.
Food deserts are the after effects of redlining, an illegal discriminatory practice in which a mortgage lender denies loans or an insurance provider restricts services to certain areas of community, often based off of the racial characteristics of the applicant's neighborhood.
That's just straight up racist.
What screwed up person allowed this to happen?
One of our presidents.
Duh.
Yeah. Franklin D. Roosevelt established a program to stimulate the economy. It offered home buying aid for Americans.
There's a butt coming. I can feel it.
But only white Americans.
Yeah, there it is.
The term redlining originates with actual red lines on maps that identified predominantly black neighborhoods as hazardous. Starting in the 1930s, the government-sponsored Homeowners Loan Corporation, aka the HOLC, used these maps to deny lending and investment services to black Americans. Beginning in the 1934, the HOLC included a handbook called Residential Security Maps, which were used to help the government decide which neighborhoods would make a secure investment and which should be off limits. The maps were color-coded with 4 colors each representing something.
So like a rainbow?
A mean and discriminatory rainbow. Green, which were considered the best in-demand up-and-coming neighborhoods. These neighborhoods were predominantly white. Blue was considered the parts of the city that had reached their peak but were thought to be stable due to their low risk of quote-unquote infiltration by non-white groups. Yellow was considered the definitely declining parts of the city. Most yellow areas bordered black neighborhoods. They were considered risky due to the threat of infiltration of foreign-born or lower-grade populations. Red considered the hazardous areas. These neighborhoods, almost all of them populated by black residents, were described as having an undesirable population and were ineligible for any financial backing.
That is the meanest rainbow I've ever heard of.
Let me guess. It doesn't quickly fade away like a rainbow either.
You are absolutely right. The impact of redlining goes beyond the individual families who were denied loans based on the racial composition of their neighborhoods. Many areas that were labeled yellow and red back in the 1930s are still underdeveloped and underserved today, especially compared to nearby green and blue areas. They often lack basic services like banking or healthcare and have fewer job opportunities and transportation options. The government may have put an end to the redlining policies, but has yet to offer adequate resources to help neighborhoods recover from the damage that these policies have caused and continue to inflict.
was a lot of useful information. Time for a break. This commercial is from one of our sponsors.
My name is Margaret. Maggie for short. I love mangoes. Oh, how I love mangoes. You see, when I was a little girl, my family owned a mango tree farm. Every day after school, me and my twin sister Willow would pick the freshest mangoes off the tree. Time I had my own kids, the tree was gone. Yes, sad. But thanks to Indica Millennia, I can enjoy the taste of my family's mangoes without all the rubbish. All thanks to their new tech, Indica Millennia has invented a new way to 4D print your favorite kind of mangoes, whether it's from a non-local grocery store to the taste of your own backyard. Mango Bite. I can finally rewind back in time just for a single mango. Thank you, Indica Millennia. Thank you.
Now back to the podcast. One of the major damages of redlining is our main topic today, the food deserts.
Gosh darn food deserts.
These past red and yellow areas are underserved in many ways, no access to fresh groceries being the most common.
Okay, so if fresh produce isn't available, then what are the options?
Usually like processed food or fast food.
That's ducked. Okay, I mean, look, having fast food or processed food isn't too bad if you have it once in a while, but every day could really mess up your mind and body.
You tell me I can't have a soda and hamburger every day and live till I'm 100?
Bold of you to assume you'll live to 100.
Duh, but like hypothetically?
No.
Aw man, but like that's the American dream.
Bruh, not the point. Wait, so how does it affect your mind and body?
Okay, well, for starters, it specifically affects your brain and your gut. Actually, did you know that your brain and gut are connected?
What?
Yeah, it's connected by a neuron that sends back and forth messages, sort of like a pen pal.
Like my pen pal that never wrote back?
What?
Nothing.
Anyways, the food we eat goes into the gut, and then the gut neurons send a message up to your brain. This is called the gut-brain axis. Now, when you introduce these processed, unhealthy foods to your system, your body releases these stress hormones, and they can mess up your brain-based skills such as planning, focusing, and even remembering things.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and that's just the basis of it. Your brain releases these stress hormones, which then activate the microglia and astrocytes, but they activate at the wrong time. And that causes inflammation to your hippocampus.
Whoa, hippo what now?
You tell me there's a hippo in my brain?
No. Okay, well, it's not an actual hippo. Like a hippo, it's smelly.
Smelly?
Well, it's the part of your brain that works with memories associated with smells. So basically in charge of most memories. In fact, eating so much unhealthy food can even lead to depression.
That's horrible.
Yes, especially when fast food or processed food is all you have in your neighborhoods. I mean, living in a food desert will put the community at a higher risk of obesity and diabetes.
Now that can't be true.
Yeah, well, sadly, it is. There is a 20% higher rate for obesity and diabetes in low-income communities here in California. And obesity is no joke. It could become life-threatening. I mean, having obesity increases your chances for heart attacks, strokes, and high blood pressure. And likewise, diabetes also increases your chances of having strokes, heart disease, and nerve damage. And this is very detrimental to a huge community's health. And this isn't just happening in California. It is happening all around the US.
That's cray.
So, technically, it isn't a food desert, it's a food swamp.
Oh, that makes sense, because there's an absence of healthy food, but there is still food just processed and fast food.
How isn't this getting fixed? Like, how are people ignoring this? Like, how can they not see how big of an issue this is?
Well, I have sort of a theory. Like, maybe some people think that other people don't want to eat, or they prefer fast food, or they're just too lazy to drive to a healthy grocery store.
Well, that's not true. One of the major factors that causes all this is the correlation between the housing market and healthier grocery stores. Things like gentrification, low-income displacement, and and white flake can all be tied back to what grocery store is nearby.
Those were some really big words. What do they all mean?
Yeah, what does gentrification mean?
Well, for starters, it's a word that I find hard to pronounce. But by definition, gentrification is when wealthy people move into a low-income community, bringing new housing and businesses, usually leading to the displacement of the previous people living in that community before it was gentrified. Some of those new businesses that are created during gentrification are grocery stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. These stores are known to increase the value of the surrounding areas at a fast rate. According to Sunday, a national online real estate organization, houses with Trader Joe's or Whole Foods close by are earning more than 30% equity, meaning that those neighborhoods with fancy grocery stores have a higher cost of living, making a neighborhood that was once affordable for many into something that only the wealthy can afford, just because there's a fancy grocery store nearby.
Wait, but how does this relate to food deserts?
Sorry for it, but trust the process. Going back to the perception that it is the people's fault that they're developing health problems that are linked to their diets, but when the people's only options are for dinner are unhealthy fast food restaurants and having little to no access to healthy grocery stores, they are metaphorically picking their own poison because systems like redlining, gentrification, and white flight only leave them with bad choices to choose from. Which leads to another of one of our sponsors trying to bring cheaper but still delicious mangoes to the market. Howdy y'all, my name's Diego Mango, here to tell you about the best darn mango store west of the Mississippi.
Diego's Dirt Cheap Mangoes!
Where we sell the highest quality mangoes for dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap!
While other mango stores will make y'all pay ridiculous prices for mangoes that are certified organic.
Certified organic?
And not picked out of the trash.
Not picked out of the trash.
Sure, my mangoes may smell like dirt, taste like dirt. Heck, we might even be just selling you a pile of dirt in the shape of a mango. But it could be yours at a bargain of 50 cents per mango.
50 cents per mango?
That's right, you heard me right, folks. One of Diego's world-famous dirt cheap mangoes for not one, but 2 whole quarters. A perfect price for the perfect mango.
Perfect mango.
Barato.
Okay, and that's all.
No, the bell doesn't dismiss you. I do. I have an unanswered question.
Right, so going back to your question on why isn't this getting fixed, it is starting to get more awareness, especially after Michelle Obama began bringing serious light on the situation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Let's Move initiative. It was launched in 2010, right?
Yep. It was dedicated to solving the problem of obesity within a generation so that children born today will grow up healthier.
This initiative was one of the biggest national public awareness efforts to improve health at that time.
It also kickstarted the Healthy Food Financing Initiative, which aims to improve access to healthy food in underserved communities, to create and preserve quality jobs, and to revitalize low-income communities. The program is aimed to build a more equitable food system that supports the health of all Americans.
Although there is still a lot of work to do, there has been progress, especially since there is more awareness and more people joining the fight for health equity.
And now we're done. Thanks again for listening to the podcast.
Shout out to Shawizi
And Darian. And Morgan.
Cheers!
What do we do now, Sheriff? Now, we ride.